the most lethal knives on the planet. Do you know what it is?
I know what it is.
I mean, I'm sure you know what it is. You saw the card, right? You clicked the video.
Let's see who can draw it the fastest. Ready, set, go. I didn't draw mine at all. Epic fail. Look, I pulled my pocket out.
Way to go.
You better have your wave system ready. Let's try that again. There we go.
I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah, if somebody had come in, you'd have had to get them.
Yeah, you would have got them with your pocket.
I'd have been gotten with my pocket.
That was great.
You win.
It's no question when it comes to lethality in a pocket knife. I don't care if you got an OTF. I don't care if you got a side opening automatic. You're just not going to beat Emerson's Wave.
No. It is the most lethal knife on the planet.
The man literally founded his company on tactical. Like they are the Mac Daddy godfather of tactical knives.
Yes, and every wave opener, whether it be from Spyderco, does Benchmade do a wave with him?
I'm sure they
probably have. No matter who it is, the wave function works. It's been replicated and never duplicated. Mm-hmm. The wave function is by far the most tactical function of all knives.
And I believe by like trademark or whatever, it's called the Emerson Wave. Spartan Blades, Spyderco. You look them up, it says it.
Yeah. Well, these knives definitely live up to the tactical lore. One of the nice things that we were talking about the other night about Emerson in particular was that all of their knives, the inherent flaws in each one is based on the specific shape of that knife for its singular purpose.
Right, so you can't really even say it's a flaw.
Right, because that's what that knife is made for. It's what it's designed for. You go with something, which one is this, the 15?
Mm-hmm, the Mini CQC 15.
So you go with this, it has a Tonto tip for excellent piercing, but it has a belly and a recurve.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the ultimate EDC.
So
and tactical too.
Ernie Emerson, you know, he kind of built his business on the CQC 7, which is their most famous knife. Famous in the worst places is their coined term. And he's built a lot of hybrid knives over the years that's made its way into production. I believe Emerson was founded in 1979. He's worked with all kinds of special operators to create the perfect tactical knife, and I think he's nailed it. And they're built like, I think
built different.
Well, it's a weird thing, right? Because we've had this discussion with people, and they're like, "Oh, Emerson knives are just so plain; they're overrated." You're wrong. They are designed to perfection.
Yes.
From the heat treat in the steel to the way that the blade opens, the pivot, the way it's built, the grind, everything about it is intentional.
These knives come sharper. The only knife sharper than an Emerson knife out of the box is going to be a Rockstead. Because Rockstead obviously has that perfect microscopic hand ground edge, which is the sharpest knife I've ever dealt with. But Emerson knives with the chisel grind is so serious. So for those that don't understand what the benefit of a chisel grind is, it's really dramatic on the piece arc. So it's super flat on one side, and then it has a severe bevel or degree of angle of grind on the other. What that does is it allows you to sharpen on the fly much quicker, because you go and you do your rod here, and then you just throw the rod across the back, and you literally have half the work, and it comes back to life.
Ceramic coffee mug, edge of a car window.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
whatever kind of hard, rounded surface you want to use.
These are made for the worst places.
Shout out to Shutter Doug. We have modified most of ours with his scales. He does a great job.
Yeah, he's the guy we recommend for Emerson scales and other scales. Reach
out
to him.
Glad to see you back. Glad to see you're healthy.
Yeah.
So best wishes to you and your family.
And we've kind of evangelized him to other people, and we've got some guys that we've sent his way, and they've gotten some scales made, and it's been great.
It is wonderful work. So.
Yeah, another thing about Emerson that he does that's really cool is he really pays homage to history.
Okay.
You've had the Persian blade, you've got the Kwaiken, you've got the Sax, you got the Scan-Do, you got the Snake. Like there's you got the the classic Bowie, and you've got there's just multiple awesome designs that are historic, and then you've got your other designs. We got a hybrid here, which is really cool. It's got like a Tonto CQC7. Just cut myself. That's awesome. We need like a bell.
Fed.
We need a bell to ring.
Every time we cut ourselves.
Yeah. It's got a Tonto like an CQC7, but it's got almost like a. I haven't looked at all the knives to figure out which grip this is. If you know, let us know. But it reminds me a lot of a Strider, sort of. So it's like you got this really awesome Tonto and this really comfortable handle. And the CQC15 that Greg showed you, that started its life as one of the hybrid knives, that blade shape. And this comes in a full-size CQC15 and the mini. And this is one of those knives that, this would be the knife I'd pick to take into a really hard area, to like a war zone or a jungle.
It does so much right. It's tactical. It's practical.
Yep. And then I would add serrations.
Yeah, that would be that. We've had a discussion about that. Is you can get a knife on clearance that has serrations sometimes. Like if you're looking for a particular model and you don't want to pay that price, you can go get the serrated version for significantly less. Sometimes in the secondary market, because people don't like serrations, mostly because of the look. I would assume they just don't like the way it looks.
Yeah.
But one of the things
they don't feel like they can use their full blade.
Exactly. One of the things that we were talking about was how we don't really have any significant serrated knives, and if you're going to have a grab bag that you're going to go for any type of situation, or even just an outdoor pack, whatever you're doing, you need to have a serrated knife on you, because it's going to cut rope, it's going to be a saw, it's going to accomplish a lot. I mean, I literally just picked up a Spyderco because they do a really good job of being fully serrated with a lot of options. Just picked up an Emerson version of a Spyderco Matriarch. I'm excited to get that. We'll be getting it this week. We'll put it up on Instagram. But I got that because I want a knife that's fully functional to be able to rip and tear through things.
Yeah.
A really sharp knife goes through rope and rough stuff, but tough material really needs that cleaving effect of serration.
And that's the great thing about Emerson, right? It's all no nonsense. Like, you get the no nonsense hardware. It's easy to work on, and whatever knife you order, you might have to pay to get it left-handed tap, but you can get it. You want serrations on that Kwaiken? You can get it. They will serrate any knife.
Right.
That they sell.
And it is a service, so it's extra. And I think guys probably.
But it's $5.
Probably. Well, but it's just the principle. Guys are probably like, oh gosh, I don't want to pay for serrations. I don't even like serrations. It's so dumb. You have to pay for them. You got to think that the Emerson is the most practical knife company on the planet.
Easily.
Because everything that they do is for a practical purpose.
Maybe we should have called this video "The Most Practical Knife on the Planet."
Yeah, because it's gonna do whatever purpose you want. Like, for instance, you've got this one, the little mini Roadhouse.
Yeah.
And it's a Tonto. It's a wonderful EDC size, but he actually put belly.
Yeah.
He put belly on this.
It reminds me of the Quieback in a way, where it has some belly, but it's Tonto.
It's got a little bit of belly. Well, that's wonderful, because then it becomes more functional.
Well, and see, that's the thing, right? So
a Tonto.
If you want an EDC knife with Emerson, you can get it. Same chisel grind, same simple designs. But if you want something that's just dramatically tactical, you can get that as well. There's knives on this table that has not cut anything ever, and that's because it is for one purpose and one purpose only. And thank God we haven't been in that situation.
Yeah, for real. The baddest of them all, in my opinion, is the Sachs. It's the most severe tip. It is a deep, long bevel on that grind. This thing is a singular purpose.
Also,
so is the Kwaiken.
I think the Kwaiken is right there with it.
Yep, it's up there.
It's they're just so severe.
The nice thing about the Sachs style, that Warncliffe, that extreme, is it almost like dives into whatever the medium is. That's what this is designed for. I would never pick this up for cutting boxes, because I'm going to be upset when I bend the tip, which both of us have bent the tips on ours.
That's a great point, to their heat treat.
Yes, yeah. And both the tips I was able just to tap them right back, and they came right back to life.
Yeah.
Emerson does an amazing job on heat treat. And, a lot of the knife brands, the Grail brands out there, they don't talk about heat treat. They don't talk about the metallurgy, why they chose a steel. The Emerson,
He has. He dropped all that information on one of those forums, and just let people know, like, hey,
it's so they use a steel that they know, that they're familiar with, that you can trust, that he trusts to put a product out. There's a reason for using that 154
Yeah.
CM, and I've had such great results with it that
man.
I just can't argue the point.
It's comical to me because when Ernie Emerson is designing these knives, he ain't thinking about, Jimmy who lives in, Dixon, Tennessee or wherever, who is using his knife every day to cut boxes and Amazon packages. He's thinking about the dude that's over there in the trenches using his knife to defend his life, or the officer in the line of duty in Chicago. Like, these knives are not necessarily made for EDC. They're made for hard use. They're made for the worst situations possible. And I would rather Ernie Emerson use a steel that he's comfortable with, knows all about it, has perfected the heat treat, and put that on the knife that I'm carrying, versus him, play,
It's not brittle. The edge comes back and it's easy to sharpen.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get him to play, inventor and just throw random steels at me.
It works. It's reliable.
It's perfect with a chisel grind.
Yeah, the chisel grind is great. So yeah, the Emerson knives are easily the most lethal knives you can get because they open so fast.
That wave system, dude.
The wave system is unbeatable. They have design. They're designed with purpose.
All
and
of
you
them.
pick which purpose you want and what you think about.
Yeah, it's like kind of like choose your fighter, like in old Mortal Kombat games.
Yeah, that's a great way of looking at it.
I mean, really, are you getting a knife to cut basic things? Are you getting a knife to defend your life? What's your purpose?
This is probably still my favorite knife. Now, a lot of it has to do with Shutter Dug and doing the Taro Tough scales. He blew me away with that, so I really enjoy the texture and the look. But this mini Roadhouse, with the way that Tonto is, and it's a drop Tonto as well, if you'll notice that, to make a more severe and strong tip, right? But the belly that's added, the size of it, it doesn't weigh a whole lot. We're looking at about 5 ounces for a serious knife.
Here, weigh
with
this one.
Thick slabs.
About the
5
same.
ounces. Yep.
So listen, and we have several here that's on the table that we've gotten custom scales done by Doug. But the scales that come on your factory Emerson are so grippy. They are easily the most grippy G10 scales on the market.
Yeah, I would,
They'll hurt you if you're not careful.
the Yojimbo you got for your birthday is very Emerson-like.
It is.
And the old Cold Steel was like that, too. Their G10 was kind of like that.
But it's still not as
not
aggressive.
as grippy as that. What you would even maybe want to do is remove your pocket clip and actually sand down
I've seen
under the
people.
pocket clip and smooth that section. Just sand that part down, take a little Dremel, just zip, and you're done. And then it'll fly out of your pocket with plenty of retention. But you're talking about a knife that's designed to, be drawn and opened. These big old gym shorts or pants, and fly right open.
And it's really easy to do the Emerson wave. It just, you push back in your pocket and pull your knife while you're pushing back in your pocket, and it'll hook.
Yeah, it just snags on the edge of the pocket and it pulls itself out.
Yeah, it's super easy. I will tell you on something like the Sachs or the Kwaiken, be careful, get your hand out of the way, because that back cut will get you. It's gotten both of us several times.
You've got to know what you're using the knife for, and you've got to be used to that particular blade shape.
That's true.
Yep. The hardest part, we're talking about this too, is the other night was, actually it was last night on your birthday, we're talking about, we have so many knives in rotation that we get licked a little bit because
You're not used to carrying them.
we're not used to carrying them. We have a high level of rotation, so a knife is not going to be carried by us every single day. But for those using a wave knife and having a platform, it would be far more practical to stay pretty consistent. with that knife.
I will
and that
say
wave.
I've gotten very consistent with the Sax. I've carried it a whole lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my number one. If I'm picking a tactical blade, it's this or the Kwaiken. It's not a Microtech OTF. It's not the Proxima. It's an Emerson. Like, push come to shove, no nonsense. If I'm risking my life, if it's not a fixed blade, it's an Emerson. I mean, it's just, guys, they literally have been in some of the world's biggest conflicts. You know, they've been in places that you're not supposed to know about and it can't be talked about. You know, those kind of situations. They're just, they've been proven.
Yeah. I would say that Emerson is probably the most underrated knife when you think about how it looks online versus in the hand. Like we've talked about a few knives that are like that. We got it in hand. We're like, wow, this is this is better than we thought. You know, the GECs kind of do that for you. The
AR,
that 75 AR was a big deal. It was really
I'd say the Praetorians are that way.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I mean, they're cool, but when you get it in the hand, it's a whole other level. It's like, whoa.
That's true. You know it's going to be big, but it's hard. But none of them like an Emerson. Once you get an Emerson in hand, you're like, oh.
It's always funny when
I get it now.
When somebody we know is getting their first Emerson, because it's like,
they have a hard time pulling the trigger on a $2.50, dollar knife, $250, when it's so plain Jane looking online. It just doesn't look like much. But then when they get it, they're like,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Now I know.
And and Emerson, they've collabed.
You don't know until you know.
They've collabed with the Zero Tolerance. They've collabed with Benchmade. They've collabed with ProTech. We showed you the CQC7 ProTech. They have licensed out their Wave system. I mean, Emerson's out there. We've done the review for the Scan-Do. The kind of the staple when we do these brand overviews is we have to have at least 3 knives and have carried them.
Yeah, we want to have experience so we can speak to their function and if we believe in them reliably.
So, counting the ProTechs that had the Emerson blade and the Scan-Do that's not on the table, that means we have 11 in the collection.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, 8.
I've
only got the CQC.
Yeah, so 3. Because I've got the Scan-Do, CQC7, you got a CQC7. So that's 11. So I think we've got a pretty good idea of, how an Emerson goes. And we've got multiple blade shapes. And we've always said that, when it comes to buying knives, obviously we're both buying knives, but we try not to buy the same knives unless it's just that epic. And there are very few knives that we would call Hall of Fame knives that we both own that knife. The Sax is one.
For a fact.
The ProTech CQC7 is one. And honestly, there's not a whole lot of others. I would say the .75 AR from Strider/Medford.
Yes.
There's not many, and so take that into consideration.
I'll put it out there like this: for your first real expensive kind of higher end knife purchase, Emerson would be a great place for you to dive in.
Yeah.
Because they're sort of below that Microtech. They're
not really mid-tech.
Yeah, they're sort of below.
You can get there with them. There's some rare ones.
They're below Strider. I'm talking about price point here.
Yeah.
Below Medford. They're below.
You could still get there up in that level. I saw some $850 Emersons today.
Well, but not on average.
Right, not on average.
It's $250 knife on average, roughly.
Or less.
And that's kind of the range. That's kind of the average for this knife. And for some people, it's going to be, this is my big purchase.
Yeah.
And you will not be disappointed when Emerson is your big purchase.
And it's such a no-nonsense knife, but what I love about it is you can personalize it as well.
You're going to want to. It's a platform knife because there are a lot of guys that personalize these. They're easy to do. I mean, relatively, because it's a slab-based knife. In other words, the scales are slabbed onto the foundation, the frame of the knife. So the scales are removable and changeable, just like some of the Benchmades that are really popular that are easy to, they have a chassis inside.
Right.
So chassis-based knives are the way to go, and pretty much every chassis-based knife that's higher end has got a ton of customizable options. Even the hardware. And actually, now that I've seen your gray, I'm probably going to go and buy silver hardware to match the silver blade and the gray here, because your hybrid, that gray with the silver is on another level. Just on another level. I love that. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, you can get larger thumb discs. There's all kinds of stuff you can get for them.
Yeah, I've ordered 2 large thumb discs, and it makes a big difference.
But if you have stayed this long, let me tell you about the greatest thing you can get for an Emerson, and that is this large spool bead from ZNC Metalworks.
Great shout
This is the greatest addition that I've ever made on an Emerson because it gives you the perfect pinky grab when pulling it.
It's great.
No nonsense. We don't get any perks. I'm just telling you, if you stay this long, we appreciate your loyalty. Grab one of these spool beads from CNC Metalworks on Etsy. I think he's got a website too. He's
on eBay as well.
Totally worth it.
He's all over.
Totally worth it. Different finishes makes all the difference in the world on an Emerson.
Get a color that matches your product, but you're gonna love the spool style.
I thought you had one.
I do. It's on another different kind of knife. I forget which one it's on, but
it makes so much difference. But anyways, guys, the most lethal knives on the planet, Emerson Knives.
Emerson Knives, without a doubt.
EKI or die. Check them out if you haven't already. Thanks for watching.
Stay sharp.
Hope you enjoy the Emersons.
Stay sharp.
Stay sharp. Again. See you guys.
And the CP sign fell down.